All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. We'd love you to support this show. Please like, follow, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Your likes and subscription helps us to grow and attract interviews and content. So please retweet and share our posts. Your contributions are appreciated. Welcome to episode 480 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill. Today we've got a full house, thankfully, and it's not early in the morning. Actually, it is early in the morning tomorrow for Daniel. So, Daniel, thank you for staying up late again after your busy week. Also on the panel today, Marcus Almighty Mark, sitting up top there. Actually, Daniel and Mark sitting up top like the grumpy old men from the Muppet Show, ready to throw insults down at Ken.
He's the grumpy one
for their picks.
Me? I'm the grumpy one?
Yeah, so we've got
destroyer hater.
Also got 69 Blizzard Ken and St. Louis Kiss Lonnie. Today's episode is going to be about your Ultimate Alive. And Ken, I'll let you tell us about the concept in a minute because I want Daniel to tell us about the episode that he recorded earlier this week with the Swedes. And I was sitting in the background doing the recording. I wasn't participating on it. It was a review show of a European concert tour that the people commenting on actually went to and were judging it from their experience rather than YouTube. We thought we'd try something new and novel, a review show of a Kiss concert for people who are actually there. Daniel, tell us about the episode.
Well, I got a hold of a few people that went to the concerts in Dalhalla. It's called a play on words for Valhalla, of course. It's in the middle of nowhere in the forest, pretty up high in the north of Sweden. For the people from the south, I had to go downwards to get there, south, because I live even further north. But it was a great venue. I've never been there before. Most people hadn't been there. Because it's not one of the bigger venues over here, and it's there's no city around really close.
Looked like it was in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah, it was. It was. How do people get here? Well, they had some buses that drove people up there and so on, but it was really in the middle. If you look from afar, it's just forest everywhere around.
They had electricity.
I don't know how it worked, but it's nothing that you go like on a gravel road for a long time, and then you come there, and there's this huge lime quarry, and at the bottom of it they have built a stage, and the seating was really great. One night I stood up front, and the second night I was seated, and nice seats, soft seats, and really a perfect arena to bring your kids to because it's not that big. I think it holds somewhere around 6,000-7,000 people, and everyone sees really well wherever you're seated. So I brought my kids for the second night, and they were in awe. And I actually overheard my oldest sister listening to Unholy today. So I guess it did something. They never played that one, but I guess she's uses Spotify and finding new stuff. But all in all, the guys that went to the concert were really positive, and they thought it was a great concert. Both concerts were great. The first one we had such bad weather, but it didn't matter. When I was up front, I was covered by the stage somehow, so I didn't get all wet. But two great concerts. They got great reviews in the papers. Everyone seemed happy, and it was a great closure for me, and my last two Kiss concerts live were just awesome. And I do hope that Mark gets to a concert as well, because
November
it's going to be so much fun.
Daniel, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You said that they played up north in Sweden. Did they play in Stockholm at all, or was this the only place in Sweden? This is the only place they played?
Yeah. They played Stockholm last year. I went to Stockholm last year and watched them, and they played Gothenburg last year as well. the two major cities. And this year, just out of the blue, they picked an arena pretty up
Yeah,
high.
I was wondering why they picked such a smaller arena.
Same like the venue in Norway. Those are both
Yeah.
off the kind of beaten path.
Yeah.
I mean, people had to ride in on their reindeers, take canoes to get there.
It's almost like
I'm used to that. I'm used to that.
It's almost like those other, like the Lost Cities tour idea almost.
Yeah, sort of, I guess. But they would easily have moved a lot of tickets in Gothenburg and Stockholm. I'm not sure why they did it, but I think it was a nice venue. At least it was a great venue to see a band. And I know Judas Priest have played there before and a few other big bands, but
cool.
It was really cool. And if you watch the episode, you will understand that the people that was on that episode, they were very positive and I thought it was great, especially the second night. And Paul was, really, he loosened up and he had a lot of fun on stage and moved around. And I think between songs, it sounded pretty good, taking into account every problem we've heard him having during the later years. I think it sounded pretty good. And, well, it was kind of sad at times. I didn't think I would get emotional, but I did at a few, the last note of Heaven's on Fire. I kind of, what's happening? Started just choking up, the last time.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but it happened two times. The second night, I kind of choked up a little bit, but I made it through, and it was a great ending for me to see the band live two times.
Nice, cool. So episode 479, it was out earlier this week. Check it out. It's in English. Don't worry.
Swing. We call it Swinglish, a mixture between Swedish and English.
That's a good one.
But you're used to that if you've listened to me, through the years.
You guys were perfectly fine. You guys spoke great English, and it must have been really tiring to do such a long show, and working out those language skills. So we do appreciate you guys all doing that, all four of you. Ken, this episode today, Your Ultimate Alive, is all your idea. Tell us about it, and then I'll tell you how.
You can blame it on me.
Answer the damn phone.
It's a spammer. I'm not answering.
Not my phone. So yeah, I mean, we had that other episode, I think earlier this year, where it was called Your Best of Kiss, and we compiled our kind of favorite songs that would be kind of like a Best of Kiss, greatest hits, or something like that. And it turned out pretty well, and I think the viewers seemed to enjoy that and participated and displayed their lists and so on. So I just kind of was thinking, I was watching some live stuff, and I was like, oh, you know what? Some of us have different views of what we would like on the live stuff, and I thought, let's try on Your Ultimate Alive, meaning like you can pick songs from any live era. They don't have to be all from the same, they don't have to be from 75 or 95 or whatever. They can be from any, and mix and match, and just pick your favorite live performances that you would like to see on a 2 vinyl LP, 20 song list, or 20 tracks. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm sure we'll have some interesting, picks here. Maybe we have the same, or we may have different. I don't know, but we'll see.
Let's find out how people have approached it, because everyone has their own idea when you give them a broad kind of framework. Lonnie, how did you approach picking the songs that you're going to be sharing with us today?
Yeah, it was it left the rules left a lot of creativity of how you wanted to approach this. I'm sure each one of us approached it in a little different manner. For me, I looked at it like, what's my favorite Kiss opener? Let's start there. What's my favorite song for them to close the set with? Let's, what songs do I want to hear in an encore, knowing that this is the first song? What other good songs would be good in an encore type setting? And so I kind of started there. I kind of started with my opener, my closer of the set, and then I filled up my encore. and then I went back into the set and kind of filled in the rest. And as far as lineups go for each song, we'll get into it. I'm probably a little original lineup heavy just because it's the original lineup. But I mean, I did go through it and I go, oh, you know what? Let's showcase some different lineups throughout. And you know, big spoiler, I do have some revenge songs in there, and I want to hear Bruce and I want to hear Bruce and Eric sing.
I can't believe it.
So
I never would have thought that.
That's how I went about it.
All right, Mark, how did you approach it? Other than pruning out anything produced by Bob Ezrin?
Other than not being able to think of 20 Kiss songs that he likes.
Well, realistically, I just can't imagine Kiss doing that many songs. As I mentioned earlier, they just seem like they're running out of gas. So I predicted a 16-song set. So my vinyl will be 4 songs a side, and that'll sound better than squeaking on 5 a side. People, come on, get with the program here. And, you know, now my way of selecting the songs were very simple. A lot of the songs are songs that I obviously like and from eras that I enjoyed. And either they are songs from tours that I remember from seeing them, or they are from favorite bootlegs that I saw, or, you know, shows I wish I was there to see and stuff like that. So I got quite the broad selection of songs. I'm interested to see our list, just to see not so much the songs, but what eras and what lineups we picked. That's what I'm curious to see.
This will be interesting. All right, Ken, how did you approach it? After I changed up your topic around.
Yeah. Well, that was no big deal. For my approach is I'm not making it like it's an actual concert so much. Mine is more of how Kiss has, you know, changed or through the years kind of thing. Starting from, mine's more chronological. There's no like encore, you know, at the very end of the album. It's just going to be whatever is the most recent live track I picked, and that lineup would be used. So I'm just trying to go chronologically and show them, you know, the beginning of Kiss, and then the middle section. And
you're doing the Rush time machine treatment,
kind of. Yeah,
in reverse. Yeah.
There you go.
Fair enough. All right, Daniel, how about you?
I tried to create the ultimate Kiss concert for myself, imagining that if it was possible, I could see any era of the band, any guitarist, any drummer. And so, for example, Colin Dr. Love, I would like to see the Creatures era do that, just because of the great Vinnie Vincent solo. And so some of the older stuff will be performed by later lineups in my picks. And I picked 20 songs. I have to switch a few now because I see that Black Diamond isn't on here, so I have to put that in. I have to remove one. So it's
that's unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know how I forgot that one, because I need that one. Oh my, which one will I can't get it. How you managed to get all your favorites, 4 songs on each side, Mark. 16
I'm thinking
songs.
audiophile as well as Logic. So
yeah.
Oh. Well, let's get into this with and start with your opening tracks and why you think that song should be the opening track to your concert. Mark, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I started off with a song that's probably not that unbelievable. Probably most people think of this as the Kiss opener.
Just a Boy.
No, it was Odyssey. No, just joking. Actually, it was Deuce. But my favorite version of Deuce has always been the 92 Gene, Paul, Eric, Bruce Kulick Revenge Tour version of it. I've always thought that was one of the fantastic versions of that song. I remember when I saw it the first time, I was like, wow, that made that song old and much more powerful. And I'll say on record too that I prefer Bruce's guitar solo to Ace's any day of the week on Deuce.
Wow. We're getting contentious straight out of the hat. Going to Mark. That was just the danger zone. All right, Lonnie.
I chose Deuce as well. It's my favorite opener.
Wow.
I think for the end of the road, they Detroit Rock City is a great opener, but I think for the end of the road, celebrating the history of the band, I think they should be opening with Deuce. I think it works. Detroit Rock City works as an opener, but I think Deuce is just better. And I went with the classic lineup: Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter. Classic Kiss sound. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yep, and that's why my finger never hovers over the disconnect Lonnie from the stream button, because you're sensible. Daniel.
I actually picked a different song. I picked "I Stole Your Love," and I would like to see it performed as it was in 1977 on the Love Gun tour. I think that's an epic performance. And I can go on to number 2 because as a follow-up to "I Stole Your Love," I've picked "Deuce." I think it was kind of hard for me to pick between the 75 version and the 92 version that Mark mentioned, because I love them both, but I went for the original. So I picked "Deuce" from 1975 as my second song.
So 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Stole Your Love and a Deuce.
Really good 1-2 punch.
That'd be interesting to hear transition. Ken, what about you? What?
Yeah, my first one is, and again, mine's chronological. I don't like jumping around. I hate, you get a box set and you want to kind of hear the, be in the chronological order of things.
Oh shit!
And they jump back and forth, and it's like, man, it bugs the hell out of me. So mine's a chronological order, but my first one is Strutter. Kicks off with Strutter. I mean, what's better than that? First Kiss album. I think it's just a great, nice, cool opener for my best of. Kind of shows where they were at back in, the 70, original lineup. I guess I should say that. Original lineup, set 1975 era Strutter. Can't get much better than that.
No, absolutely not. I agree. Nice. All right, Lonnie, give us the rest of side 1 of your album.
All right, so side 1 goes from Deuce into King of the Nighttime World. Kind of like they did it on the reunion tour with Gene, Paul, and like I said, I changed things up a little bit. I put in a Gene, Paul, Eric, Tommy version of this one. I like the way that they did it on. There's some good versions of this, like from Rock the Nation and things like Rock the Nation tour and things like that. I think that was well done. Then into Heaven's on Fire with Gene, Paul, Eric Carr, and Bruce Kulick for a true version of that song. Shout It Out Loud with the original lineup. And side 1 closes with Shock Me with an Ace Frehley guitar solo with the original lineup.
Ooh, early solo.
Early solo.
Nice.
Wow. That's interesting. All right, Daniel, you cheated somewhat and gave us a 1-2 punch. So what's the rest of your side 1?
Yeah. The first side is all about energy and speed. So after "I Stole Your Love" and "Deuce," I'm going with Creatures of the Night. But I do prefer the version with Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer. So I would pick, like the performance from Tokyo 95. And then after that one, I keep up the tempo with Parasite. And then I pick the original lineup doing Parasite, like Winterland 75. That's like, Peter Criss is so good during that concert. And I round off the first side with, I think I'm the only one with this song, "Fits Like a Glove" from 1984 with Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick. Oh my Lord, what a perfect side 1.
Yeah, I think the audience is going to have a seizure off that side 1. Ken.
All right, my side 1 continues, and my side 1's all 1975, the original line. And there goes Gene on his chopper. All right, so number 2 is "Let Me Know," which, get the audience right, back into it. It's
get them to start sleeping. Yes.
Yeah, Let Me Know, which is the live version, as we know, which they didn't do much, but they have the, Let Me Know kind of chanting at the end of the song, which is really cool, and jamming kind of session. Then next, I got Nothing to Lose. You have some participation from Peter and Gene on that one. And then number 4, I have Watching You, another classic from the original. I agree, somewhere around Winterland time. Really, really good stuff. And then I chose Black Diamond to end side 1, which is the Black Diamond from 1976 era of Kiss, where they have the little extra lead into Black Diamond on that one. So that's my first side.
All right. And while I ask Marquez, think of if anyone's side ones are winning you over, or whether you think yours is clearly the most sensible. Mark.
Okay, so like I said, side 1 starts with Deuce from the 92 era with Gene, Paul, Eric, and Bruce. My number 2 song is Strutter from the 2001 era with Gene, Paul, Peter, and Tommy, circa the Australian tour there, which I've always said that performance of Strutter I always thought was one of the best.
2001?
2003. That's 2003.
2000.
Oh, Australia.
2001.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so 2003.
2001 was Eric Singer and Ace.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. My mistake. Then I have Calling Dr. Love from 77 with the original lineup doing it, because I always thought that's one of their better performances of it. And to close off my side, the 4th song on the side is Hotter Than Hell from the 1992 Revenge tour, again with Bruce, Eric, Paul, and Gene.
That's a really good pick, actually. Hotter Than Hell from that tour. Yeah. Hotter Than Hell Revenge lineup is really good.
Very solid.
All right, Lonnie, is anyone else's picks grabbing you? Are you regretting not having any of those in, or are they going to show up on later sides?
I don't have Strutter. I don't have Strutter on my list at all. I don't have Let Me Know. I don't have Fits Like a Glove. I don't have Let Me Know.
Sorry, Daniel didn't have Black Diamond.
Right.
Yeah.
Our lists are, it's interesting how you guys are saying some great songs. I don't have them on mine, and I guess I just think there's so many Kiss songs to choose from, Mark, that
agreed.
It was tough to condense it down. There's a lot. I had to edit, and I'm like, oh shoot, I missed that. Somebody's got to go, and there were victims that fell.
So you had to take Read My Body out, huh?
Yeah.
There are some real stinkers live sometimes. Don't forget.
Yeah,
no, there haven't been a lot. Yeah, they didn't last long in the set if they didn't work, did they?
A stinker that was live was like I'm an Animal on Sonic.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Was just like
exactly
sludge and like plodding along. It was just like
just real fast. I brought my girlfriend for that show. I think it was 2010, and she said that goddamn song. I'm an animal. I'm a snail. I hate it. I think she was right on, like a snail. It felt like a slow-moving, slimy thing. Yeah,
that was terrible live.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. Who else's side ones do you like or dislike, and that you're scratching your head on?
I think all the guys pick great songs. I don't know how Let Me Know would work live. That's not really one of my favorites, but other than that song, I think they picked great songs. I'm excited to see if anyone will pick Creatures of the Night, because I think that's one of the perfect songs at the beginning of a show. In the first, somewhere around the first 5 songs, it's just an awesome song to hear in the beginning of a show when you need to get the juices flowing and so on. But we'll see if it appears later on.
Yeah, first song back for the encore. First encore, be great.
Yeah,
it's kind of a declaration. But Ken, you were thinking outside the box to Let Me Know. Who else's picks have jumped out at you as being, that's the way to do it?
No, I mean I agree with Deuce from '92, which I have on my list, and well, Fits Like a Gov was obvious to me, but for Daniel and the other ones, Dr. Love, I agree totally with Mark on that one too. So, yeah, I mean, I have a few of those same actual matching picks as the others, just in a different position.
Just real fast, I was kind of surprised. Was I the only one who picked "I Stole Your Love" as the opening song? Yeah. I think that's always been the best one. Deuce is, of course, great as well.
I Stole Your Love. I Stole Your Love was from what?
77.
1970. It's on the Love Gun album.
Yeah.
I know that.
No, he meant which version.
Which live version?
Yeah. But that one from Houston, Love.
I know what album.
Love from I Stole Your Love from Houston, 77. That's just can't be topped.
What album?
Just a bunch of Kiss fact check nerds on this show.
Mark, did I get you?
Come on now.
No, you didn't get me, but okay.
Past judgment.
Well, I mean, I think mine is the best, of course, but no. It's in all seriousness, I think everybody's list has some, real strong entries in it. I mean, like obviously, "I Stole Your Love" is another very good way to start a set. I agree with Daniel. I think that's a strong opener. I think I was surprised, like when they did it for the Hot in the Shade tour. I think people were probably really surprised that they opened with that, right? So some great selections, and of course, with the way Ken's doing it, we have a different way of looking at the songs, right? So.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to get up and go across the room and flip over the first LP, and we're going on to side 2. How are you going to follow up your side 1, Daniel? After all that sugar and caffeine, you're going to take it down a notch and have Beth followed by Slow Stuff?
I will take it down a notch, but not that many notches. No Beth is anywhere near my list. I'm starting off side 2 with, it was so great a week ago when I saw this live, Cold Gin. I'll pick, people say, it's overplayed and everything. But when you hear it live, when he starts off that riff, I mean, it's so amazing. Thinking of it, I'm getting a bit choked up here because it was such a great performance. And I'm happy I capture it on my phone so I can watch it over and over again. But Cold Gin will start off my second side.
Give us the rest.
Okay, the rest.
Both sides now.
First side is really fast and powerful. Second side is powerful but a bit slower. So Cold Gin from 75, then Heaven's on Fire. I think I'd like the Bruce Kulick, Eric Carr era from 84-85. Then I'm going with Calling Dr. Love, Vinnie Vincent on lead guitar, 83. That's one of the few solos he really nailed off the bat. Listening to that Rio concert, I mean, that's I love that solo. One of the few Vinnie Vincent solos that really stood out live. And then I'm going with War Machine, of course, with Vinnie Vincent again. I like the way he played that solo. And the final song on side 2 will be Tears Are Falling with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick from 1995, a heavy version that they played during the shows in Tokyo, Japan, and Australia in 95. So that's my side 2.
That's a pretty flawless, having some Asylum in there. I approve. Lonnie.
So we flip over first record and we start off with Come On and Love Me by the original lineup. Classic Kiss song. Perfect. But then, it is my Ultimate Alive.
Yeah.
So from Come On and Love Me, we're going straight into
Heart of Chrome.
I Just Wanna.
I just want to.
I just wanna.
I love that
That's
song.
a transition.
I love that song. I think it's so great live. I think it's a shame they don't play it. And I get it. I mean, the makeup and it's a different audience than what they were playing to in 92. But anyway. And of course, the I Just Want is the Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer lineup. And then from there into It's Time to Breathe Some Fire. So we're going to put War Machine as our fire breathing song. with the Gene Paul, but we're doing the Eric and Vinny lineup for that. I know they didn't breathe fire with Eric and Vinny, but this is my life. I can do what the hell I want to.
Exactly.
And then 2 more songs on this side is I Love It Loud, again with Eric Carr and Vinnie Vincent. And we're staying in that same era to close out the side, but it's Lick It Up with Eric Carr and Bruce.
Lick It Up.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Lick It Up's not my favorite, but
You always say that it's overplayed, and
it is overplayed.
you hate
It
that
is overplayed.
medley that they do with.
And I'm not
The
having
newer
Won't Get
version,
Fooled.
right?
I'm not. It's the Eric
You're
Carr,
not-
Bruce Kulick version. It doesn't have the "Won't Get Fooled
That's
Again"
true.
medley right in the middle of it.
Mhm.
That I think just completely takes the air out of things. And all of a sudden, we're going to play it in the middle of a Who song, in the middle of a Kiss song. I don't really understand that. We've only been doing that for like a freaking decade now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of lost. Maybe the first time they did that, it was, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
That's different.
yeah.
But like the next 10 times I see him, I don't need to hear that again and again and again and again. But
Yeah.
anyway, but
So what was that last song?
it's Lick It Up, and it's
Okay.
And I know people are saying, "Oh, Lick It Up, it's overplayed." Well, you can't deny the impact it had on the band and how important it
Yeah,
was.
that's
to the industry. So that's why it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Paul Stanley likes it, and damn it.
So we're gonna freaking play it.
Yeah.
Whatever Paul says.
All right. Mark doesn't care what anyone thinks, so give us your side too, Mark.
Okay, so my side 2 starts off with Firehouse, but from the 96 reunion tour. I remember when I saw that, I thought that when they played it here in Toronto, it was fantastic, and it did include one of the best fire breathings that I seen Gene do. It was massive fireball he did in that show. I don't know what he did, but it was a really huge fireball. It was unbelievable. And my next song on the side is one that I don't think any of you are probably going to have on yours. It's "Talk to Me" from the 2001 show from Japan with the very excellent lineup that didn't get enough time together, which was Gene, Paul, Eric Singer, and Ace. That I've always loved that lineup. I thought that show in Japan was fantastic, and they should have stuck with them a little bit longer, I thought.
Yeah.
My third song on the side is "Watching You" with the original lineup from the 75 Winterland show. I always thought that's a fantastic version of that song. And Gene's there with his really bad makeup there that night. I don't know what he did there, but his eye is like really screwed up around there. But anyways, the performance is very good. And I close off my side because, of course, 4 songs for audio fidelity purposes. Cold Gin is my last song on the side, the 4th song, from the 77 tour with the original lineup and complete with guitar solo. And that's another reason to keep it 4 songs, because you can do a nice version of the solo.
Mm.
And sacrifice your fidelity. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you want to swing it. I'm surprised no one yet has come up with a side that's got every song that Gene's breathed fire in. So he's breathing fire on every song.
That'd be funny.
Ken, side 2.
Side 2. Okay, my side 2 leads off with "Calling Dr. Love" from original lineup, 1977. Classic. I used to listen to over and over on a live too. Then following that up, also from 77, is "Shock Me" with Ace. That's going to obviously be also off of a live 2 era for me. Then I follow that up with "Detroit Rock City," and I pick from 1980, Australia.
Interesting.
Period.
That's good.
And I thought that I always liked that version and that the way they rock that one. So that's Ace, Gene, Peter, and Eric Carr on that one.
No, Ace, Gene,
Peter and Eric Carr?
Wow.
I mean, Paul and Paul.
Wow.
Sorry,
How does that work?
Cool lineup.
sorry. Yeah, that was 2 drummers on that one. actually.
Unplugged again. Yeah.
Paul. I'm sorry, not Peter. Paul and Eric.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yeah. And then my 4th one is "War Machine"
Yeah.
from 1983 with Gene, Paul, Eric, and Vinny on that one, which is classic. And like Daniel said, Vinny's going to rip his, that's his solo from the album. So it's a good one. And then I finished that side with "All Hell's Breaking Loose."
Oh,
which is a song I love. And I know they didn't use it very long on the tour, but I would have loved to see that song live. I took that from '84 with the Gene, Paul, Eric.
Because that's all you're taking it
and
from.
I know that's all. It's only 10
Your
we're gonna play.
reaction.
Yeah, so that's my side 2.
Yeah, well, you're way outside the box today, Ken, with a Let Me
You
Know
are.
when all hell's breaking loose. Did I get everyone? Because I'm getting very lost, and I was just distracted by a...
Yes, you did. You got everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to get up and walk across the goddamn room again to
Flip
take the little P off the
Oh.
deck, put it back in. It's
Put
nice
another one.
poly, whatever Mark calls the quality.
Poly sleeve or whatever.
Poly sleeves.
Polyline.
Back into the jacket, take out the other one, slap it on side 3. Daniel, get us started with side 3 because you're about to take a sip.
Yeah. So first side, a lot of energy. Second side, a bit slower but powerful. Third side, I'm going for a few surprises. So I'd like to hear side 3 start off with one of my favorite opening tracks that really didn't get a chance live. It was played a few times, but it's King of the Mountain, 1985 with Bruce and Eric. And then I'd like to hear another song that was played just a few times, I think in Britain. I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr once again. I'd love to hear that song live. A good recording on that song. And then I have a problem because now I have too many songs, but I think I'll stick with
The opposite of Mark's problem.
yeah, exactly.
It is
You come up with 20 good Kiss songs. It's impossible. No, in third, the third song is actually I have to put "I Love It Loud" in here because when I saw it a week ago, I mean, it's just fantastic live.
It's still fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so fun, and you know,
When you're
everyone
there.
was getting into that one. So if I'd pick my perfect Kiss concert, I can't leave that out. So I have to put "I Love It Loud" in there, and I'd like to see Vinnie Vincent on lead guitar for that one, even though it's you know, one of the solos that Julian can play. And then we move on to Crazy Nights. I kind of missed Crazy Nights when I saw them. These two because it always goes over so well here in Europe. I think it's a perfect live song. I never really cared for the record,
Not
but
the
the
last
live
time there were children crying the last time they did it.
the live version of Crazy Nights is I think it's
fantastic.
I think it's fantastic. But I'd like to see it, you know, from the Harness Shade era with Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick. I think that would be a cool version. And then the final song on side 3, I have to switch out because I've written "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" from 1995. But unfortunately, I had forgotten about Black Diamond. So I have to remove "God Gave." And of course, Black Diamond has to end side 3. Black Diamond is my pick for the song winning the death match thing that we're doing. I think Black Diamond is my favorite there, so I have to put that one in. So God Gave, well, sorry God Gave, but you didn't make it.
When's Black Diamond from?
Yeah.
Black Diamond. You need
From
Peter
where?
Criss and vocals. You need Peter Criss and vocals. So I think I'd pick Love Gun Tour maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Good picks, Daniel. And I may have dissed Crazy Nights, but I liked how you adjusted it to the Hot in the Shade lineup because it was a bit tougher a song on that tour. Let's go to Lonnie.
All right. So kicking off disc 2, we're gonna go Unholy with Gene, Paul, Bruce, and Eric.
Oh,
You're not going for the farewell lineup?
No, I did not. I like the Revenge lineup of Unholy.
Well, Lonnie, you do need to go to the guest room once in a while, so that's a good pick.
Wow.
Yeah, but the live version of Unholy is so.
I'm sorry.
subpar.
Sure.
You like
It sounded better. It sounded better on Revenge Tour than it did on
better.
Rock the Nation. On Rock the Nation.
Oh God.
Is
Yeah,
that
exactly. I agree.
Mark the burp. Mark the burper.
On cue.
Sorry, Lonnie. I'd like to see Unholy as well, but it never really worked live. Sorry.
Nah, I'll still take it. I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
And then New York Groove with Gene Paul, Ace, and Eric Carr with the
there's an interesting
Australia 1980 version.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Followed by God of Thunder, original lineup, 1977 Alive 2 era. So good.
Drum solo included?
Drum solo included. Of course, it's how you do God of Thunder live. That's how you do God of Thunder live, is with the drum solo included. That's how it's supposed to be played live.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's going to have to replace another song.
Daniel obviously forgot about God of Thunder.
Oh my gosh.
And he's
Too many good songs.
frantically with an eraser right now. And then Love Gun, again, original lineup, 1977, sounds so good. Like that Houston 77 Love Gun sounds so good. And then closing out the set before the encore on side 4 is Black Diamond, original lineup, about I'm going to say 1975 era. It sounds so good on a live. You can't.
Again, you really got
not take it.
Did you say side 4?
I said that's closing out side 3 before side 4. With
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
All right, Ken, you warmed up your lips. Get talking about your side 3.
Let's put your 2 lips together and kiss.
Yeah.
All right. So, what did I end up with last time? All hell's breaking loose. So, my side 3 begins with "Lick It Up," the original from '84 with Vinny, obviously on that one, where before they did the Who stuff. And just a note, the Who's next box set is on sale. So just tell you that. They just announced that. For all you Who fans out there. And then my number 2 is "Heaven's on Fire" from '85. But this one's going to have Mark St. John in the lineup on it. Because you can't really screw up something that wasn't no real solo on that one. So, but it's a good performance on that. We got that live soundboard recently, and it was pretty good. So I gave that one to Mark St. John, not Mark, our Mark. And then next after that, I have "Shout It Out Loud" from 1988. Yeah, Japan.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Daniel.
Daniel's going to need a bonus LP.
Forgot.
Daniel's going to need a bonus disc.
Like
it's either that or a lot of shame.
Like a 10-inch. You need a 10-inch, Daniel.
Anyway, she said.
What she said, yeah.
Okay. So "Shout It Out Loud" from '88, Japan era, Bruce and Eric Carr. And then 4 or 5 now. That's 3 actually. 4 is "Love Gun," also from Japan with Bruce and Eric. And then I end with "I Stole Your Love." Believe it or not, I end the side with "I Stole Your Love" from 1990 with Eric and Bruce. So,
okay, with all these songs coming out, this is like word salad with Kiss songs. I've lost where we're up to. Who's next? Mark? We started with Daniel for side 3, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then to Lonnie, then to Ken, now to Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I was distracted.
No problem. So my side 3 starts off with 100,000 Years from the 76 Cobo Hall performance with the original lineup, drum solo included. So I'm not including God of Thunder because my drum solo song is going to be 100,000 years.
Okay.
So, and plus Ezrin is involved with that, so it's out of there. All right, now the next song is War Machine from the '83 tour.
Yeah.
With Gene, Paul, Vinny, and Eric. Always thought that was a fantastic performance of it. I agree with Daniel and everybody else who has said that it's fantastic. I full-fledgedly agree. And then the third song on my side is Heaven's on Fire with the Gene, Paul, Eric, Carr, and Bruce Kulick lineup. Okay. I believe that would be, 85, I guess, when he joined in. Yeah. And then here's going to be some controversy. To close off the main set, for me, it's going to be Let Me Go Rock and Roll from the reunion tour.
Reunion, getting
original lineup. And because I frankly think that that's a more interesting song to end off with. They always end up with the same songs all the time. And if you listen to a live, they close with Let Me Go Rock and Roll. So I always thought that was a great way. And you have Peter doing the big, we love you, good night, all that shit, right? So I'm going to end my side with Let Me Go Rock and Roll from the 96 reunion tour.
All right.
Very nice. Yeah. All right. Who's side 3, Daniel? Takes the cake.
Mine, of course, but
Well,
the other ones had a
where
few
you had to delete stuff.
Yeah.
Put in stuff you've forgotten.
Editing on the fly.
Yeah, I have to edit on the fly here because you guys mentioned a lot of good songs. I mean, there's just too many good Kiss songs. I can't imagine how Mark can keep it to 16 because
there are many good Kiss songs, but not many good live Kiss songs.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I mean,
that's
every song is better live. Every
live.
Kiss song is
What are you
great
talking about?
live. Mark is out of it today.
What album broke them? Oh, Alive.
Yeah.
Yes, but we're not just sticking from that era, though, right?
No.
Sure,
I think the
Alive,
guys
because they are so
the guys
good
picked,
live.
yeah, the guys picked a lot of good songs. It's just a terrible headache to do this because there are too many.
Terrible headache.
I have to edit my final 5 songs. So move on to someone else. I can think about this.
Okay.
Oh shit! I mean, okay, Lonnie, who's shocking you?
I don't know. It is interesting. Everybody has a different take. And everybody has a different feel. I think. I don't know. I didn't expect
structurally. I don't know how any of these albums are going to work. If you were to throw them into Spotify, if that was even possible,
mine would work perfectly.
It'd work on an iTunes playlist. I guess I could create it through some bootlegs.
Chronological is more like a greatest hits album, though.
It's different. Everybody, we all love the same
Greatest
band, but
hits
everybody
live.
has their own taste within the same band.
Yeah,
There's such a broad spectrum.
All right, Mark. Anyone surprising you?
Yeah, I'm surprised by Daniel missing out all these songs that he claims are all fantastic, and he seems to forget them all.
No, but I need to put in King on the Mountain. I've had enough of Crazy Nights. They're great.
That's
as
where
well.
you're screwing up.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing "Shout Out Loud" for "I've Had Enough" Into the Fire. Come on.
And frankly, my changing of the closing song is very radical compared to everybody's choices in here so far. But I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I applaud my fellow panel members and their choices as well.
All right, Ken. Pass judgment on your fellow panelists.
No, they're all good. I mean, everyone has their list, and yeah, Daniel screwed up. He's still in Dream World. He's in a dream world from the 2 concerts he saw. So he already forgot about God of Thunder and Shout Out Loud, which they played just this last week for him. I don't know how he missed those, but whatever.
and he's not done yet, so keep that in mind.
And he forgot God of Thunder too. Don't forget.
All right. So we're on to side 4, which would generally be encores. I think I probably would have put on, just 5 studio cuts to be a dink. But how do you approach this final side, Lonnie? Was there, and is it encores, or are you just having a live show straight through without really thinking it to that level?
Well, it is encore for me because I ended side 3 with Black Diamond. Knowing that, so 5 songs is a lot for an encore to cram in there. And I'd already put Love Gun in the set, so like, because I kind of like Love Gun in an encore like they did on Revenge Tour, and that kind of, for me, kind of works that way. So I had to think about Kiss encore songs, and knowing that I put Deuce to start the set, I know that I still have Detroit Rock City in a holster that I'm going to have to use. I'm going to have to fire that one. So, but I started it off, and Daniel's going to really roll his eyes. But what is one of the great Kiss encore songs is Beth. So after Black Diamond, we're going to come back with Peter Criss singing Beth, the way Beth is supposed to be done, with him on a stool by himself. That's the way the song should be done with Peter Criss. Okay. And then the band comes back and does Detroit Rock City, classic lineup for Detroit Rock City, with Ace Frehley doing the guitar solo from 1977, of course. And then it got a little tough. So I threw in I Was Made for Loving You, but it's with the Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer lineup. I really like the way they did that. I really like the way that sounds with that lineup doing that. And it is a live album, again, with the same thing I was talking about earlier with like Lick It Up. Like, okay, maybe I get tired of hearing that song live, but I Was Made for Loving You was such a big song for them. It's an ultimate alive. So I Was Made for Loving You, but Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer. And then we got 2 songs left. And for me, those were 2 easy tracks to choose. And I chose God Gave Rock and Roll to You with Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer. And then we close out the show, of course, with Rock and Roll Night. How can we not have it in there?
Yep.
Original lineup.
It's so nice to see someone put God Gave Rock and Roll to You too and have it stick in their set. Daniel, what about your side 4? What's left now for the songs?
What's left?
We'll start off with a medley of 3 songs. So we'll start off with
a medley.
Shout it out loud. God of Thunder. And God Gave Rock and Roll to You. However you do that. So those 3 in the beginning. And then we move on to the final 4 songs. And we start off then with Detroit Rock City from the Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick era. I love that version. And then we move on to Love Gun, Houston 77. And then I picked the same song as Lana did, I Was Made for Loving You from 1995 with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick. Such a great heavy metal version of I Was Made for Loving You. It was great last week as well. And then the final song, of course, Rock and Roll Night from 75.
Yeah, nice. I'm actually
I cheated a little bit with the madness, but there's too many good songs.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I'm surprised Lonnie didn't start his encores at the beginning of side 2 like they did during the Revenge Tour, because didn't they get about an hour in and say, other bands usually say goodnight at this point, but we're just going to keep playing. And then they do like 7 encores, but it was really just the other half of the show. All right, Ken. I'm going to let Mark have the final word on side 4 because I just can't wait to see what he's doing with his 4 picks left.
Okay, so again, there's no necessarily an encore because mine is chronological order again. It's just like a greatest hits live kind of thing. So side 4 begins with Deuce from 1992 with Bruce and Eric Singer lineup.
That often gets picked. I mean, that I think is a fan favorite.
It's a good version. Yeah, definitely rocks. And then the second one is Parasite from the same 92, same lineup. Another great one. And then here's where things switch up a little bit. I use Rock and Roll All Night from 95, the unplugged version, Rock and Roll All Night, and I get the whole group of them out there.
The whole family. How nice.
The whole family is there, right? With the original lineup plus
guitars.
I'm not
Bruce
talking
and
about
Eric.
mom and dad.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. It's a good version. It's fun. And then I keep with that pretty much, except without the additional family members. I have the lineup of Gene, Bruce, Paul, and Eric Singer doing "Going Blind" from Unplugged, also, which I just love that. I had to put it on there. So that's there, and then I end with the anthem. I Love It Loud. And I put the Vegas 2014 version with Tommy Thayer in the lineup. So that's how it ends.
I think next time you should do yours in alphabetical order. That would be very fun.
I can do that.
I'm sure.
My last 5 songs were all Gene sung songs.
Of course. Yes.
Yes.
He only got one more song than Paul on my whole list, though.
Oh, did you count them for balance?
I did count them after the fact, and I was like, oh, I was kind of surprised. Wasn't surprised I had one more Gene song than Paul, but it was pretty even.
I actually did that with one of my books. I went through and counted all the photos that I was using in it to make sure I didn't have one primary member of more photos than the other.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you're gonna. What's your final 4?
So, since I ended the main set with "Let Me Go Rock and Roll," we're gonna start off the encore with the way most people end their stuff. There's gonna be "Rock and Roll Night" is gonna be the first song of the encore. No guitar smashing bullshit, because this is gonna be from the 2012 tour that they did with like Motley Crue when they did that joint tour. So that's the Gene, Paul, Eric Singer, and Tommy Thayer lineup doing that. I was there for that show, so I really enjoyed that version of it. I thought they did pretty good. I'm so sick of that song, but I thought that was a fantastic version of it that night that they did. So I decided to include that one. Then after that, we have Detroit Rock City, and this one is from the what did I put down here? Let me just double check here. Oh yes, this is also from the farewell show with Gene, Paul, Ace, and Eric Singer lineup doing that. I always thought that their version of Detroit Rock City was really, really good and deserved to be showcased. Then the next song that I have might be a bit of a surprise, and that's Psycho Circus from the Psycho Circus tour with the original lineup.
You're the only one who's picked that song today. That's weird.
Yes.
I
feel that it's a good encore song because it's a fan favorite, and those usually show up in encores. And to close off the night, it's a song probably that people are going to expect to close off the night, and is deservingly supposed to have always been the last song of the. I don't know why they went to Rock and Roll Night. It doesn't make any sense. They should always close off. They should always close with Black Diamond, but I chose the 2003 version to keep Peter on vocals, but to put Tommy Thayer on guitar. I always loved that version.
Okay.
I think Tommy plays that. I think Tommy plays that solo much better than Ace. Ace is pretty sloppy.
That's Ace.
Okay.
Ace. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the comments this week on this episode for some of these picks. I mean, I'm gonna agree with Mark on Psycho Circus is actually a really good pick because it does represent part of that catalog.
Didn't make.
Well, wait a minute. Mark, if you did 5 songs aside, you would have been able to, include more songs.
But I just couldn't see it happen.
You just couldn't think of any more good songs.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Are there any bands that have ever released a live album in that sort of format that you've actually enjoyed?
Well, like random shows from different eras.
Like Motley Crue did "Entertainment or Death," which was just a collection of different songs from different tours, but it was obviously the same lineup. Aerosmith did the same with "A Little South of Sanity." Mm-hmm. I think Iron Maiden did it as well from I can't remember which tour now, but it has been done, but it's never really been done due to lineups, because the music changes dynamically so much. Would it even work as a listening experience, Lonnie?
I don't know. I might have to try it out this weekend and see how it does with a listening experience and go through it. I don't know if it's probably going to feel pretty choppy going from, especially with Kiss, with the way each lineup sounds a little bit different, even though you have the mainstays of Gene and Paul, but I think that their tone changes and their style changes so much through the years, from the 70s, and then you listen to some 80s Kiss and the early 90s Kiss, and then the reunion. It's all good, but it's so different. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of choppy to listen to something like that.
Yeah, whereas a band like Metallica, you can go on YouTube, and I spend a lot of time listening to their worldwide wired, compilations, which is every single catalog song from that tour, just strung together, and it sounds unified. It doesn't flow, but it sounds unified. Daniel?
I think in 15 years I'll go to the Kiss digital avatar tour, where you can wish whatever lineup you want to see. And then I surely pick Vinnie Vincent on lead guitar for Calling Dr. Love. And then I pick Bruce Kulick for Deuce and so on. So, but I've always had a problem mixing eras when listening to something. It's hard to make it work. But in the future, in the year 2040.
One thing I did hear this week as well was some AI was used to replace James Hetfield with Dave Mustaine singing on Masters of Puppet, and vice versa, to have Hetfield singing Megadeth songs. So I think we're probably not very far from someone being able to put Vinnie Vincent on guitar with Peter Criss on drums.
It's a horrendous idea.
It is a horrendous idea. I mean, it's mutilation.
It is ruining music business doing this shit.
That is what AI is going to do to the creative world. It's going to mutilate it. Ken, would your idea flow, or do you just want to go and listen to that? Dave?
To me, mine flows because it doesn't jump around in style. It keeps the years all grouped together. The same sonics are pretty much there, and actually you can see how the sonics change over the years. Slowly change into to the late 70s, and then to the 80s, and then 90s, and to now. I think it would flow just fine. It's not mimicking a regular concert that you would go to. It's just kind of giving you the best of live songs from different lineups, but it's grouping them again chronological. So,
all right, Mark.
Well, I had to agree with Ken. I think that that's why probably one of my favorite greatest hits discs is that Kiss Gold one, because it does that, where it goes through the greatest hits from the beginning of the career to the end, and I thought that one flows really well. That's the one I generally pull out and listen to, because of that. It flows really nicely. I mean, the one thing that I'm curious about when you brought up this whole AI thing, I find that idea is kind of odd, but for a Kiss thing that might be interesting is if they can really, perfect this AI shit where it learns so well. I'd love to hear an example of AI used, for example, like putting in a version of Psycho Circus, but having Vinnie Vincent play the lead guitar, and see how it would have turned out if he did it.
Or having Peter and Ace play on the actual album.
Psycho Circus, yeah.
That would be original.
Yeah. So I mean that's mainly out of fun, but I think the whole AI thing is just in general just a terrible idea.
The whole AI thing is scaring me from a writing point of view, and because I do write, and I obviously in my time I've done a lot of cut and paste of quotes and stitched them together, but now that I'm doing real writing, I'm about to be made obsolete by
Julian.
The ultimate.
Julian, quick question. Talking about your writing, it was some time since we heard anything about your book project. How's it coming along?
It's done.
It's finished.
Just got to sell it.
Great.
I'm waiting for hardcover proofs, to see if that's going to be feasible to do in any format. I was looking at Amazon doing hardcovers, but they use a non-standard format, which would mean reformatting the whole frickin' book. So I've got to look at this other one. I'd only print up 20 copies anyway because the hardcovers just aren't selling. Well, the price point's so outrageous now. And this affects everyone who's doing anything on Amazon. The prices have jacked up, and this is a full color book. It's not like one of those which every single page is color in this. And I'm actually very happy with the Amazon quality. It's not the same as going out independently and having it printed, because I'm just not going to do self-fulfillment. I refuse to. So it's done. I've got a couple of preview readers that I'm waiting for feedback on, just in case anyone does have any final last comments. I'm still holding the door open for France to step up with anything on those kind of more obscure shows. But otherwise, it's done. It's written. It's proofed. It's copy edited. It's
great news.
All done. So not far off. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
I'm working on other shit already. So there we go. All right. Everyone had an interesting approach to this conundrum of Your Ultimate Alive. Now, if you don't want to put together Your Ultimate Alive in response to these guys, which one of these fellas, and you're just going to have listened to the show and maybe taken some notes, which one of these guys had the best Ultimate Alive, or the one that meets with your taste the most? And how would you approach it? So let us know in the comments. And for now, I have no idea. When we're back, don't forget to check out Daniel's episode with the Swedes. It was really good. So from Daniel, Mark, Lonnie, Ken, and myself, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.